62 points in Game Week 9 wasn't enough to avoid a small red arrow, down to 12,000. It was a frustrating week at the back, where Mark Flecken couldn't even manage a save point at home to Ipswich, and all three defenders conceded a single goal. Concert and Robinson saw their clean sheets cruelly snatched away deep into stoppage time. The points stacked up in midfield as Bukayo Saka marked his return from injury with a 9th minute opener against Liverpool. Palmer and Mbeumo proved ever reliable, while Emile Smith-Rowe ended a run of 3 matches without a return against Everton. He ought to have found the net as well, firing over the bar from close range. Dominic Solanke continues to disappoint with a 0.02 expected goals total in the defeat to Crystal Palace, while Erling Haaland could have punished Southampton further. The Norwegian missed 3 of his 4 big chances, attempting a game week high 8 shots. So it was a real let-off for those of us without our triple captain chips in play. So we move on to the transfer plans for Game Week 10. Fantasy Football Hub's AI recommends a double swap with 2 free transfers, downgrading Kai Havertz to the in-form Raul Jimenez in order to fund Harwood Bellis to Josko Gvardiol. As much as I rate Raul for a short-term punt, I'm not keen on doubling up with Smith-Rowe. And it feels a little late to be targeting a Man City defender now the fixtures begin to toughen up. You can get personalised AI transfers for your FPL team via the link in the description. I've got 2 ways I could go with my 2 free transfers, the most daring of which would see me sell Haaland and buy Salah, ahead of home ties with Brighton and Aston Villa for the Egyptian. In isolation, I'd say Salah is a slightly better captain option than the Norwegian across the next 3 game weeks, but it's not as simple as that. You've also got to factor in the other changes. Wolves' improving fixtures make Matheus Cunha my preferred budget forward pick, but these transfers would lead me into a tough bench dilemma, where I'd perhaps be forced to leave Kai Havertz out against Newcastle. The accumulation of matches and minutes in all competitions for Morgan Rogers is a concern, but I'm still not sure I'm ready to part with him. He's ideal to leave on the bench for the next couple of away games, and then it's home ties with Palace, Brentford and Southampton from Game Week 12. So for those reasons, I'm leaning against the move for Salah as it stands. What I'm more likely to do is make 1 transfer, replacing the frustrating Esri Konsa with Rayan Aït-Nouri. Now operating as a left wing-back, the Algerian has bagged an impressive 3 goals and 1 assist in the last 4 game weeks, averaging 6.3 points per game. But I've held off from the early transfer to give myself more thinking time ahead of Saturday's deadline. With all that in mind, here's how the team is set to line up for Game Week 10. Expectations are low for Mark Flecken after shipping 3 goals to Ipswich, but it's always tricky to justify spending a transfer on a goalkeeper. Fulham rank 8th for expected goals in home matches this season. Pedro Porro has fired 7 shots in the last 4 game weeks, with only Malo Gusto attempting more among defenders. Aston Villa ranked down in 15th for expected goals in that time. In the same period, just 3 defenders have delivered more crosses than Anthony Robinson: Lewis Hall, Leif Davis and Pedro Porro. Fulham have restricted opponents to a league-low 4 big chances across the last 4 game weeks. Fit again, Bukayo Saka has found the net in each of his last 3 matches in all competitions. He's failed to produce an attacking return just once in 8 Premier League outings this season. Newcastle are without a win in 5 matches, conceding 7 goals and ranking 12th for expected goals conceded. With 5 goals in the last 5 game weeks, Bryan Mbeumo ranks 2nd only to Cole Palmer for points. Among midfielders, his tally of 5 big chances can only be beaten by the Chelsea talisman as well. Brentford have produced the 3rd highest expected goals total in that time, only trailing Arsenal and Spurs. Directly contributing to 3 goals in the past 6 game weeks, Emile Smith-Rowe has averaged 5 points per start. Brentford have shipped 14 goals in that time, with only Wolves conceding more, and the Bees rank 15th for expected goals conceded. Kai Havertz remains a set-and-forget option despite the rise of appealing budget forwards, with Arsenal's fixtures set to improve from Game Week 12. The German has accrued a league-leading 3.2 expected goals in the past 4 game weeks, with only Palmer surpassing his 17 shots. But Newcastle have conceded just 3 goals at home this season, with only Liverpool faring better. Dominic Solanke has gone 3 matches without a goal, while attempting just 2 shots. 7 of his teammates have taken more in that spell. But an upcoming home tie with Ipswich in Game Week 11 serves as a strong incentive to keep hold of him for now. On the scoresheet 6 times in the last 5 game weeks, Cole Palmer faces an out-of-sorts Man United side that have this week parted ways with Erik ten Hag. They've given up a joint leading average of 4.3 big chances per game in home matches this season, on par with Southampton. But if I do end up keeping Erling Haaland as I'm currently expecting, the Norwegian is likely to retain the captain's armband almost by default. Despite scoring just once in the last 4 game weeks, he's attempted a league best 15 shots from inside the box, and only Havertz has accumulated more expected goals. Bournemouth have allowed just 3 goals in that period, however, ranking 3rd best for expected goals conceded, so it won't be easy for the league leaders. This team has a 92% rating via Fantasy Football Hub. You can get your team rated by AI for free via the link in the description. They're currently offering 30% off memberships and a 7-day free trial. Click the link in the description and sign up today. All the data included in this video is available on the Hub Opta Stats tool.